busy at a workbench made of pure thought, refining a formula for courage. "You see," she said, adjusting goggles that could now peer into the hearts of Neb. "Every act of kindness is a catalyst. Every mystery solved is a step toward the great reunion. We aren't just a memory. We are the foundation of every new dawn." As they looked out, a new pageant was beginning on a world billions of light years away. A young girl, looking much like a young Helena, was planting a single glowing seed in a field of grey dust. "Golly," Boniface whispered with a smile that bridged all existence. "The quincentennial of hope is starting all over again." Chapter 41. The Endless Pageant. On the world of New Cotswold, far beyond the reach of Earth's oldest maps, the pageant of the first harvest was in full swing. It was a day of celebration, but it was also a day of remembrance. The people gathered in a courtyard that felt strangely familiar, the same arched windows, the same limestone warmth. A young boy was declaiming a history that felt like a song. "In the beginning, there was a stone heart, and through the love of a detective, the wisdom of a nun, and the fire of a writer, that heart began to beat. It didn't beat for one village, but for the soul of the all." As the boy symbolically handed a golden key to a newcomer, a soft mist rolled in from the nearby hills. It wasn't a cold, damp mist, but a shroud of silver light that felt like a hug. In that moment, everyone felt a presence. They didn't see figures, but they felt the ozone of a laboratory, the scratch of a pen, and the steady, protective gaze of a guardian. They felt the pure intent that had been found at the bottom of an ancient well. The pageant ended not with a speech, but with a minute of absolute silencer resonance that connected the New Cotswold to the Sanctuary of Light, and both to the infinite potential of a universe that had finally, and forever, found its home. Chapter 42. The Weaver's Choice. In the timeless expanse of the sanctuary, the three guardians Boniface, Sam, and Ruth noticed a fraying thread in the grand design. It was a subtle discord, a world named Ouroboros Prime, where the resonance was being turned into a cage of absolute certainty, leaving no room for the messy, beautiful mystery of the human heart. "They've mastered the science, but they've lost the detective's doubt," Sam observed, his badge pulsing with a warning amber glow. "And they've stopped writing their own stories," Ruth added, her pen hovering over a blank page. "They're just reciting a script of efficiency." Sister Boniface adjusted her multi-dimensional goggles. "They need a catalyst of chaos, a reminder that the truth isn't a destination, but a laboratory where the unexpected is the most valuable reagent." They decided to send a resonant spark. Not a miracle, but a question. They chose a young woman on a technician named Lyra, who had begun to wonder why the indigo gold flowers in her city always bloomed at exactly the same second. Lyra found a clue left in the limestone of a city wall, a simple hand-drawn weeping eye. It wasn't a digital code. It was a smudge of charcoal that smelled of wood smoke and old books. As Lyra followed the trail, she discovered the ruins of a hidden laboratory beneath the city's perfect steel foundations. Inside, she found no machines, only a small, rusted iron box and a pair of scratched goggles. When she put them on, the perfect, rigid world around her dissolved into a kaleidoscope of potential. She saw the veins in the leaves, the hesitation in her neighbor's eyes, and the secret love hiding in the shadows. Lyra's choice was simple but revolutionary. She shared the goggles. She didn't explain them, she just let others see. The cage of certainty broke, and for the first time in centuries, the people of Ouroboros Prime began to argue, to wonder, and to love. The Weaver's choice was confirmed. The Guardians realized that the greatest gift they could give the universe was not the answer, but the Chapter 43. The Silent Key. As the Sanctuary of Light vibrated with the new energy from Ouroboros, a profound silence fell over the living cathedral. It was the kind of silence that precedes a great transformation. Standing at the threshold of the moment of all, Boniface, Sam, and Ruth were joined by the spirit of Helena Gillespie. She wasn't an elder now, but a being of pure resonance, holding the translucent vial of pure intent. "The cycle is complete," Helena whispered. "The stone heart has become the universe heart, but there is one final lock to open." She handed Sam a small, heavy object. It was the original iron key to St. the one that had been symbolically handed over during a pageant 500 years ago. It felt impossibly real in this realm of light. "What does it open, dear?" Sam asked. "It opens the way back to the beginning," Helena replied, "so that we may remind the universe that even the most infinite light began with the smallest act of courage in the dark. Sam took the key and stepped toward a door made of mist. As he turned the lock, the sound wasn't a click, but a chime that echoed through every atom of existence. The door opened not to another world, but back to the North Cloister. The mist was clinging to the hills of Great Slaughter. Sister Boniface was standing at her arched window, whispering, 500 years, enduring perennial. But this time, as she looked out, she caught a glimpse of a golden bird in the trees, a bird that shouldn't exist in the She smiled, a deep, knowing smile, and realized that her lab was much larger than she had ever imagined. The silent key had opened the circle. The past was no longer behind them. It was within them, a foundation of stone that would forever support a sky of light. Chapter 44. The Alchemist of Souls. In the infinite stillness of the circle, Sister Boniface realized that her work in the laboratory was never just about chemicals and reaction. It was the alchemy of the soul. Every test tube she had cleaned was a vessel for a prayer. Every microscopic slide she had peered through was a window into the divine precision of the Creator. She looked at the golden bird perched on the branch of the ancient yew tree. It wasn't a physical bird, but a manifestation of the pure intent that Helena had integrated into the global resonance. You see, she whispered to the empty lab, we were never searching for a cure for the body. We were searching for the antidote to despair. She reached out and touched a beaker, and it didn't clink. It hummed a perfect, resonant F-sharp that echoed the heartbeat of the galaxy. She realized that she was no longer just a scientist in a habit. She was the catalyst. Her role was to ensure that the spark of curiosity, the gully of discovery, never went out in any heart, on any world. Chapter 4. Outside the laboratory window, the Garden of St. Vincent's began to change. The lavender and lilies were joined by flora that had no name in English, but whose colors were the very frequencies of joy. This was the Garden of All Beginnings, a place where every act of kindness in the history of the universe grew as a flower. Sam and Ruth walked through the garden, their steps light, their hands never letting go. They weren't old, and they weren't young. They were simply eternal. Every headline I wrote, Ruth said, looking at a vibrant indigo bloom that smelled of old ink and fresh rain. Every story of justice, it grew here. And every case we solved, Sam added, touching a silver leaf that pulsed with the steady rhythm of a guardian's heart. Every person we protected, they are part of this piece. They found themselves at the old well, the one where the silence had been hidden. Looking down into the water, they didn't see their reflections. They saw the billion souls they had helped inspire. They saw a great tapestry being woven, where the thread of a small English village was inextricably linked to the farthest star. The stone heart didn't just turn to gold, Sam noted. It turned into everything. Chapter 46. The Singularity of Mercy. As the eons condensed into a single point of infinite density, the guardians of St. Vincent's prepared for the Great Reset. The universe was old, its stars fading into the cosmic dusk, but the resonance of the Cotswolds remained as bright as a summer noon. Is it time, Sam asked, his hand resting on the hilt of his badge, which now pulsed with the light of every soul that had ever sought justice. It is, Inspector Boniface replied. She was holding a test tube that contained a single drop of clear liquid, the absolute synthesis of the apostle flowers, the pure intent, and the tears of 1,000 reconciled families. We are no longer observers, we are the inception. They stood at the center of the sanctuary, where the anchor stone had dissolved into a swirling nebula of indigo and gold. This was the singularity of mercy. Boniface stepped forward and poured the liquid into the heart of the nebula. The reaction was not an explosion, but an expansion of absolute, unadulterated love. Write the lead, Ruth Sam whispered. I already have, Ruth said, her pen carving letters into the very fabric of the new reality. In the beginning, there was kindness, and the kindness became the light. As the old universe collapsed, the guardians didn't vanish. They became the laws of the next one. Boniface became the law of curiosity. Sam became the law of protection. Ruth became the law of truth. Chapter 47. The New Genesis. A new Big Bang erupted across the void. But this time, the matter was infused with the resonance of great slaughter. The new stars didn't just burn, they hummed. The new planets didn't just orbit, they danced. On one particular planet, orbiting a young, golden sun, a valley began to form. Limestone cliffs rose from the earth, and a mist warm, protective, and smelling of lavender began to cling to the rolling hills.